he has to be in charge of the robot army that they're developing. So we'll have that thoughts on that. Also, I'm going to be doing the first hour of the Young Turks later on today with Senator Nina Turner. It's just going to be me and the senator. Should be a lot of fun. So show up, send us some comments. We want your support. And with that, Brett, thank you. Always a pleasure to have you here. I'll be seeing you in just a couple of days to ruin your golf experience. And with that said, stay safe out there. Stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
I just love that intro music. I'm so happy to be here. This is Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has the day off, but and boy, the team, the timing, well, casting's everything, isn't it? Casting is everything. Who should you get to play the part? Not just any part. Today, you are playing the part of a sports guru. Wosny Lambrey's here. I asked you because I go back and forth because I don't know, tacky, I guess. Woes, was. What would you like to be today? And correct me, please, because I want to get it right. You're so kind, and you often say, "Just whatever floats your boat in that moment." But we've got a big lead story today that's all about sports and the intersect, gambling, crime. And so, what would How would you want to be addressed?
I mean, to me, it's almost like if a guy's name is Gene and, an American, it says, is it Gene or is it Jean? It's both, right? Like the
Yeah.
American
He's
way
just
would
so
be Gene,
easygoing. Yeah.
and the French pronunciation would be Jean. But I'm cool with either one. So we could go with the American because this is a very American story today.
Okay.
We're gonna go with
Good.
Waz today.
Wow. Okay. And that little helped me remember. Okay, Wozni Lambert. And we'll get to what you're up to. Really, before I jump into this, I have to start with a disclaimer with you. What did you
Sure.
know? Did you know about this? We're talking about the NBA. This is a huge scandal. How much did you know? Were you holding back?
No. I knew about Rozier it'd been reported that he was being investigated by some entity. Cause let's face it, like the only reason we know about this is that when they do these gambling schemes, they're defrauding multi-billion-dollar corporations when they do so. And when you do that, the authorities tend to come after you.
Yeah.
And so, back in the days, if there was a crazy game fixing scam or whatever, it was like these bookies, essentially mom and pop operations,
Yeah.
defrauding the general public, gambling public who would place bets with them. So you're placing bets in good faith. Meanwhile, the mob or whoever has the fixing for whatever game. So you've been defrauded. Now, with these big gambling companies, if Terry Rozier tells his buddy to put a bunch of bets on his under with FanDuel or DraftKings
Mm,
or any of the big guys, his friend is defrauding the big guys for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they don't like that.
You did a little, oh, may he rest, Mutombo finger at the end. He was my classmate, older than me. Okay, so let's not get it twisted. But I love him. And Dikembe would never be involved in this. I mean, we've had many brunches together. He talked to me about a lot of things and warned me I would not talk to this person. Okay. This person tried to shake me down. And I would always trust him. He's beyond reproach. He's building hospitals. He would never be involved in this. 34 arrested in NBA gambling case involving a coach, athletes, at least one star, and the Mafia. I mean, this is a sexy, nasty, dirty crime story that I don't even know if Hollywood could write this. Massive betting scandal involving the Mafia and current and former NBA players has shocked the sports world. I mean, people can't stop talking about this one. Federal investigation resulted in 34 individuals being arrested across 11 states. Among those arrested, Portland Trail Blazers coach Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, former Cleveland Cavaliers player Damon Jones. Billups, who coached in the Trailblazers opening game Wednesday night, was arrested in Portland Thursday morning. Can you imagine? And he appeared in federal court. Rozier, arrested in Orlando. He'll appear there. Both will be arraigned at a later date in Brooklyn. I mean, presumably they'll be out. I don't know if they'll see Diddy. Is Diddy still in Brooklyn? Is Diddy being housed in Brooklyn? I don't know. And I don't know why I brought him up. This is a separate crime. No baby oil, but a lot of people got taken here. Lawyers for the players deny the allegations, say they will seek to fight the charges. So much more going on here. 13 members and associates of the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, New York crime families are among the defendants in the two cases, according to Christopher Raya, assistant director in charge of the FBI's New York field office. He says an illegal gambling operation created a financial pipeline for La Cosa Nostra, the mob. FBI says there are two major operations at the center of its probe into illegal gambling and sports rigging involving current and former NBA figures and New York crime families. 31 defendants are alleged to have participated in the nationwide scheme to rig illegal poker games, according to U.S. Attorney Joseph Nocella Jr. At underground card games involving well-known public figures, high-tech cheating technology was used to steal millions from victims. This included custom shuffling machines that could read the order of cards, barcoded decks, hidden cameras built into tables, and light fixtures. According to New York City's police commissioner, games in the New York area were backed by the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime families, according to the U.S. attorney. Organizers enlisted NBA figures, including Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups, who, as we said, was arrested this morning, as we go to press. He got him to sit at the table, helped make the games appear legitimate to victims, that according to law enforcement. U.S. attorney said the other scheme involved using insider information to place bets on NBA games. Michelle said the perps used non-public information about NBA players and teams to profit on gambling. Information used included details about whether specific players would be sitting out future games or when they would pull themselves out early for purported injuries or illnesses. I can't wait to talk to you about that, Was. I remember being on the sideline as a reporter for the Cavs, and it was Coach Mike Brown at the time, and he was, there was a bit of a revolt. They didn't trust him. They didn't like him, whatever. And I remember he went down the line. Damon Jones was on the team at the time. He said, I need you to go in each player said, I'm good. Nah. Then he'd go to the next player and he'd hold my knee, elbow. The next one says, they just refused to go in the game because they were mad at him about playing time or whatever. Next day at practice, then GM Danny Ferry said, hey guys, this is the NBA. This is crazy. This is how they run things, these players. Hey guys, from now on, we're probably going to have to find people if they refuse to go in the game. Can you imagine? Anyway, back to the story at hand. They also misused information obtained through long-standing friendships that they had with NBA players and coaches, and in at least one instance, threatened a current player into handing over information over his pre-existing gambling debt. Is that not mob-like? The defendants used the non-public information to place hundreds of thousands of dollars in bets at online sports books and at casinos, mostly in the form of prop bets, which center on an individual player's performance, according to the U.S. attorney. While many specifics of the scheme are still unknown, the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of New York said there were specific examples of illegal betting on various NBA games that hinged on the performances of players on teams including Charlotte Hornets, Portland Trail Blazers, and the Lakers, as well as the Toronto Raptors. In a statement, the NBA said, quote, we're in the process of reviewing the federal indictments announced today. Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups are being placed on immediate leave from their teams, and we will continue to cooperate with the relevant authorities. Take these allegations with the utmost seriousness, and the integrity of our game remains our top priority. The Heat directed press inquiries to the NBA statement. The Trailblazers noted that Tygo Splitter will be taking over as the interim head coach, as Billups is now on leave. What's Stephen A. saying today about this? He loves to speculate. I bet we could see, I didn't get to watch him. You can probably see the veins and everything, as he shouted this one out. Smith speculated that it's a revenge plot by Trump. Remember, Trump has a long, long history connected to the world of sports because he had those casinos. Where do you think folks were coming half the time? I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about the culture. When people want to go to a casino, when people want to gamble, when people want to party or whatever the case may be, this was his kind of connection to that. Don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list. Because when you've got all these protests that have been going out there, people have been protesting against him, what have you, this man is coming. It's as if he just got off the phone with Trump. He's coming. I'm watching a press conference with the director of the FBI. Tell me when we've seen that. Kash Patel kind of shows up a lot to claim other people's work. He just did that with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So what are you talking about, Stephen A? But anyway, that's immaterial. We've seen accusations before. We've seen athletes get in trouble with the law before. You don't see the director of the FBI having a press conference. It's not coincidental. It's not an accident. It's a statement, and it's a warning that more is coming. He added, in his eyes, folks tried to throw Trump in jail. In his eyes, he's innocent. And they're trying to put me behind bars. I'm getting everybody. He's not playing. There's this breaking detail for you as we bring the show to you today. FBI Director Kash Patel, in response to Smith's comments, said, quote, "That may be the single dumbest thing I've ever heard out of anyone in modern history, and I live most of my time in Washington, D.C." Yeah, and you often talk to the president. So that's a hell of a statement there. Here's a guy who talks to Donald Trump, or is at least in his company co-signing on things, and yet this is the dumbest thing you've ever heard out of anyone in modern history? Fact check. Meanwhile, according to CNN, since the Supreme Court declared bans on sports gambling unconstitutional in 2018, at least 23 professional players or coaches have been suspended or permanently banned from their leagues for sports betting violations. All right, Woz. Well, this takes the allegations and some, well, look, I guess they proved in baseball did against Charlie Hustle. This is nothing. Okay. What Charlie Hustle did is nothing compared to what we're about to cut. Tim Donahue, right? The ref who
Mhm.
did the same thing. NBA was banned for life. This takes it to a whole nother level. A couple of things jump out at me that I want to tee it up before I let you take it away. LeBron James has tweeted out, put some things on social media about Donald Trump over the course of his outspokenness in his career. And there was a leak about a star player. And it's been reported that it's believed that's to be about LeBron James. So there's that. I want you to weigh in on that. And the other thing is our reporting there and the reports out there reference a player with gambling debts being threatened into turning over information. And that tells me that there is somebody who's turned witness, right? That's a witness. That's somebody who could be facing charges, who is now a witness. That's what you do. You race in, say, I'll take a deal. Damon did it. Chauncey did it. And by the way, they threatened me. And then maybe that's true. All right, it's your turn. This is just bombshell stuff. My friends in LA and all over are calling me, my sports guys saying, whoa. Some of them were asleep, and I texted and was happy to break the news to them. Go ahead.
I want to say first and foremost that folks need to understand with the FBI as it exists in 2025, they're going to go for maximalist sensationalism and publicity. This FBI is addicted to publicity. So, in order to make their case very prominent in the public's mind's eye, they're going to put the famous people involved front and center in a way that's not proportionate to their roles in the actual crimes that were committed, right? So I want people to understand that first, that yes, the president has a bad history with this league and its players and its most prominent players, specifically LeBron, but other people too. But also the FBI loves publicity. Let's just take, for example, and you mentioned Diddy. Remember when they raided his cribs and they had the SWATs and the guns and they took the baby oil and they were leaking information that Puff was drugging people via baby oil. Okay? He was infusing the baby oil with drugs. People were applying it and then therefore being drunk or drugged up, inebriated, so therefore couldn't consent to certain deviant sexual acts that allegedly Puff was into. The trial comes out, and all they got Sharon, was that the guy flew out prostitutes for sex. That's what they got this guy on. All of those guns and raids and all of this hand wringing was he paid for prostitutes. Which, look, everybody has different morals, but like, let's just say that's not a very uncommon crime, okay? Especially amongst people of that ilk. Leave that aside.
I tried not to interrupt you, but just give me a moment. There was
Sure.
the guy's car, the testimony, fellow rapper, bombed somebody's Porsche. And yes, ultimately the convictions accurately suggest what you pointed out. But my God, what he actually did to the women, I'm not going there with you.
I'm not saying that Puff is an angel.
Right.
I'm talking about the feds and how they prosecute cases.
That point of view. Okay.
That's all I'm
enough.
saying. Their approach to public prosecution is to sensationalize. And when it comes to having the goods, if they had the goods on Puff, I'd love to see him go away for 30 years or whatever it was. But they plainly didn't have it. But the way they first presented it, boy, we thought Puff Daddy was going under the jail. And that's not what happened. And so when I see this, when I see, all of the NBA guys who were involved being plastered on this thing, and we're talking about glasses, special made glasses to be able to see markings on cards and machines that are dispensing cards in a way so that they pick the preferred winners and stuff like that. Like, I'm sorry, Damon Jones and Chauncey Billups didn't make those machines. Right? So whatever. Leave that to the side. What does this mean for the NBA? This betting stuff when it comes to the prop bets, because that's what we've seen. We haven't seen people betting on the outcome of games and NBA players being credibly accused of fudging the outcomes of games in order for certain bettors to win. What we've seen are these cheap ass side bets, okay, these what they call prop bets. And yes, Jonte Porter, Michael Porter Jr.'s little brother, he got caught doing the same thing, which if the audience doesn't place bets, like what these sports books will do, not just the outcomes of games you can bet on individual performances. So let's just say Terry Rozier, who's involved in this, they'll place an over-under bet at 15 points. Assists at over under 3 assists. And if you bet either over, if he makes 15 or better, or 16 or better, I should say, on points, your bet will cash. If he scores 10, you lose the bet. Same with rebounds, same with assists, right? Now, a way to scheme that, easily defraud the sports books, if you have the ability to have a guy on the inside, is to say, I'm just going to take myself out of the game early. That way, I don't have to perform a fraud in terms of missing shots on purpose, not going after rebounds on purpose, not getting assists on purpose, etc. I'm out of the game. So therefore, I can't reach those overs or unders, or all of my stuff is going to be coming under because I left the game early with what I called an injury. And so that's what you're seeing in terms of the people that they've been able to catch. And why have they been able to catch them? The sports books have computers dedicated to monitoring what bets are winning for the book, what bets are losing. As a general rule, most of the general public, when they put a bunch of money on something, when they're willing to bet, when there's a lot of action on something, it's big games involving big names, right? So you'll typically see a lot of money coming and going involved in a Lakers versus Golden State game. That's LeBron James, Steph Curry, Lakers, Golden State, the two most public teams in the world right now, right? Right next to the Knicks, the same thing, right? Those are typically what their computers are seeing. Oh, this is normal. A lot of money being put on these kind of games. Some obscure player like Terry Porter, Terry Porter, I'm showing my age here. Terry Rozier, hundreds of thousands of dollars in bets coming in on some obscure players under That's an immediate red flag. That's why this stuff is so easy to catch. The general public doesn't give a damn about Terry Rozier. They don't spend a lot of time thinking about his performance. They're not gonna just, Joe Sixpack doesn't just sit around saying, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put 10,000 on a Terry Rozier bet today. It makes no sense. It doesn't comport with the general flow of what people like and want to gamble on. So that's how they're able to catch these people. Now, that's on the sort of rigging of the game side. What Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones are involved with is poker games where they're being used as they're labeled as the face card. Basically, they're the selling of these poker games to this network of poker players is like, yo, this game's on the up and up. Chauncey Billups is gonna be there. You know him, NBA champion, 5-time All-Star, ESPN analyst, now head coach. Of course, this game is legit. It's on the up and up. And what the feds are alleging is that the people who were rigging these games and defrauding folks were actually in league with Chauncey Billups. It's not just that he was showing up to these games, he was actually an active participant in the fraud because he benefited from the ill-gotten gains that were made in this game. Damon Jones, they're saying, he's the one that they're saying got into crazy gambling debt. And so, Sharon, he's selling these tips. So one of the ones, the evidence that they presented, Damon Jones is a special assistant to the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James has an injury that has not yet been reported to the public. He immediately texts one of these gambling dudes, sells him that information for $2,500. He's breaking the law. He's putting his career, therefore his ability to earn in the future, completely at jeopardy for $2,500. This guy was, at the time, was making $400K a year. And so he sends that information. This guy's like, oh snap, LeBron's not gonna play tonight. I'm gonna bet the house on the team that the Lakers are playing because they're without their best player. This is a great bet, right? And also Damon Jones was involved as being a face card for these illicit poker games. I mean, I think it's these are terrible crimes. And of course, as soon as you attach the Mafia, the five families, the Cosa Nostra, Omerta, the Godfather, Goodfellas, you attach that element to it, now you have a sensational case.
Look, you have given a clinic here, not just in the gambling and the nuance, but the stakes here, the FBI, the target, what's more to come, who's ratting out who, and for how little? You said $2,500? $2,500?
Damon Jones,
When you live above your means, as I'm sure everybody's been guilty of here and there, that's one thing, right? You and I maybe put a little too much on the card. Now you're sweating a little bit, right? It's time to pay the bills. But when you're next to a superstar, and I don't take anything away from Damon, but Damon Jones was a special assistant to the Lakers because for one reason, and not because of his NBA career or his basketball prowess. It's because he befriended aggressively a high school kid who came into the league in Cleveland. And they happened to cross paths, and he made sure they never lost touch. I mean, that's just the facts. Okay. Where do things go from here? Because we mentioned the NBA image, and the NBA's had some dark, ups and downs over the decades, whether it's Rudy getting punched in the face, sucker punched, or it's, like we mentioned the referee who was doing what he did, now banned forever. AI's dressing for the culture, and David Stern saying, nah, we're not doing that. And now today, I don't know if you can rank for us if this is going to be, to date, the biggest, worst scandal in NBA history.
I don't know that this is, to be honest, when I think about the biggest crimes involved here, it's this illegal poker stuff, which kind of isn't involved with the integrity of the actual product. I think if the integrity of the product was called into question, which, Terry Rozier pulling out of a random regular season game for his crummy ass Charlotte team, it's it's scandalous for sure. I don't think it's in the biggest scandalous for the league. Now, like I
Okay,
said,
but let me rephrase it then. You're an expert. This is what you do for a living. This is how you're living, right? Everyday public. And you mentioned the way things are spun and pushed. Let's mention LeBron. I haven't seen anywhere where LeBron James did anything illegal here, not even an allegation of it.
but you
But
got to
let's
mention
push
him.
LeBron, integrity of the game, and media, in this case, like me, mainstream media putting up the ref who bet and did all these things and got paid. And so perception is reality. So I re asked the same question. Is this going to be the biggest scandal in NBA history by design, even?
I mean, it has the potential to be, but I think this is where Adam Silver has to earn his freaking keep, right? He has to earn his
Big time.
big old check that he's being paid because one, it's obvious he has no juice with the Trump administration whatsoever. And let's face it, as a commissioner, it's kind of your job to be massaging these relationships, right? And so the fact that he has no juice with them is going to be hard for him to carry any favor with them. So I think Adam has a lot of work to do and has his work cut out for him. But also at the same time, like the people who own the league, like, don't get it twisted. I know the NBA is seen as this bastion of progressivism as a league. Please, I would be shocked if 3/4 of those owners weren't Trump donors. Like, also the league as a collective has to come together and be like, yo, Donald, I get it. Our most famous player was dissing you back in 2017, and we've been annoyingly woke as hell in the past. Like, I get that, but like, bro, come on, man. Like, what do we got to do to make this right? I think it would be incumbent upon those people, because, like, be real. You think James Dolan, the New York Knicks owner, isn't friends with Donald Trump? It's been recorded that he's donated. He definitely donated to the first campaign. I'd be shocked if he didn't donate to the second and the third ones. He's a New York City bigwig. I just think the league just literally has their work cut out for them.
Well, the details are breaking fast and furious. Gilbert Arenas, he loves to run his mouth talking about his time in the league and perhaps things that went down. Gil revealing Damon Jones' gambling while he was in the NBA. This is what's being reported. Okay. That LeBron told Arenas, if you miss these free throws during one contest, you know who's going to win it. And he wasn't talking about, the two teams. It's about more than that. These are allegations. Everybody wants a piece of it. Everybody wants a part of it. There's speculation about whether Chauncey et al. Will cozy up to Donald Trump. And that alone means there's another opportunity for Donald Trump and the administration to capture, in this case, the NBA, to bring it to heel. We'll keep following it. I love talking about this with you. I hate that this is going on. Some of these guys, I don't know Chauncey Billups, but some of my friends who do say, "Oh, what a great guy." It doesn't mean he's not capable of something.
He's got a
If he makes a mistake.
sterling reputation. I'm
Right.
talking about, like,
And
if you
likable,
ask
too.
anyone who's dealt with Chauncey Billups, it's like, dude, he is the definition of professionalism, solid, stand-up individual. Like, I'm talking about people that have worked with him on the media side. I know people that have worked with him on the agent side. Like, I'm like
Yeah.
universally respected this
Yeah.
guy is. It's kind of
That's what I
crazy.
hear. I would take issue with I wouldn't necessarily use the word dealt with Chauncey Billups in light of his allegations. I would perhaps pick a different word, okay, associated with him, not anybody who's dealt, if you understand. I don't know that that's productive. We'll move on to this one, though, Oz. It's about the shutdown. I mean, we're weeks into this thing, and now there's an update. More military families turning to food banks now. You see where we are? Who gets the blame? More military families are turning to food banks as government shutdown wears on. That was the Military Family Advisory Network CEO, Shannon Razadin, who recently visited Umoja Health in Houston. That's where meals are being prepped and donated to service members and their families. Take a look at this.
Hey everyone, it's Shannon with MBAN. I am here at Umoja's warehouse where they are packing thousands of emergency meal kits for military families. In just 72 hours, we had over 50,000 military families apply for support. And we are counting on everyone to really lean in and help us meet this incredible moment. Military families are rightfully nervous. They're concerned about what might happen if they miss their pay. And for the Guard and Reserve community, they did miss pay.
So if ever you need a reminder of just how many Americans, in this case, the military, are living check to check, for folks who want to look down on the unhoused, those who are needing some help, how many checks did they miss? And perhaps just one. And here's where we are. Armed Services, YMCA, seeing a 30 to 75% surge in demand nationwide. Food banks seeing a surge of demand across the country as the government shutdown weathers its fourth week. Military families are among those turning to public pantries to put food on the table. The Armed Services, YMCA, nonprofit that provides support and assistance to military families, telling ABC News they've seen that 30 to 75% jump in demand at the food banks near military bases since the shutdown began, as military personnel go without pay while the funding impasse wears on. Just how can you look in the mirror and still take your check, Speaker Johnson? The ASYMCA in Killeen, Texas, near Fort Hood, told ABC that they've seen a 60% spike in military families seeking food at their location. Amy George, Senior Vice President of Military Family Services for the ASYMCA, told ABC the shutdown is hurting military families when you see service members in their military uniform raising their hands and saying, hey, I need a little extra support in the form of food. It is surprising and shocking. We do want America to see this picture, to try to better understand that these are some of the challenges the military families are facing. Next military paycheck is unknown, of course. I mean, this thing is still going on. It's not settled. Pentagon diverted money in its budget to prevent military families from missing their paychecks earlier this month. But as their next payday approaches, October 31st, it's unclear if they will get paid this time. Trick or treat. Senate on Thursday failed to advance a bill sponsored by Senator Ron Johnson, the Republican out of Wisconsin, that would have provided appropriations to pay military personnel and accepted employees of federal agencies being affected by the shutdown. One client of the ASYMCA food bank in Killeen told ABC she feels caught in the middle of a political battle. She would have to visit a second food bank later that day in order to feed her family. I feel like we're in the crossfire, she said. Our families are struggling. It's causing way too much stress and a burden on our families. Government food assistance programs across the country also could end November 1 if the government shutdown, now the second longest in U.S. history, continues beyond that date. Many states are warning that the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, known as SNAP, which is administered by states but funded by the feds via the U.S. Department of Agriculture, could halt benefits. Real talk. Of course, we'll include a link in the description if you want to donate to the Military Family Advisory Network to combat military hunger. Look, whilst all families are hurting, and no one family's better than the next, but when you put on a uniform, you're serving, and you are, I was going to say, it reminds me, it's a separate thing, but it's the humiliation part of it, where you had Black soldiers coming home after fighting for their country and being treated horrifically in racist terms, right? Different matter. We're talking about food and economics, but how humiliating. You serve, you're supposed to be pristine, you know who to salute, boots shined up, and these clowns in Congress, absolute clowns who've turned over all aspects of oversight and just said, here, you take it. We'll just stand here and do our little clown show. And they're doing it. They're a bunch of bobbleheads in Congress. You can't get anything right, can you? You can't get a damn thing right. And now we're faced with this military men for the optics alone. Do you think America's military is ready? Do you fear them across the world if you're into war? If they're holding out, will you fill up my cup, please? No family, military otherwise, is better than the next. But the optics of this, I like it that the spokesperson for the one agency said, we need America to see this. Open the curtain, wide open. How about you, Was?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing that I would say is I'm not of the opinion that these military families have been humiliated. They're in a time of need and they're reaching out. To me, the humiliation is the United States government.
Well, that's what I meant. Maybe
Um,
it was awkward the way it came
a-
out, but that's what I meant. Why are you doing
Yeah,
this? You
like
know?
they're the embarrassment here. Like all of the hand wringing and gums bumping they do about, oh, salute the troops and we love our troops and all of that, only for, you know, for them to just completely throw them under the bus. And for what? Like, I gotta say, the proposal the Dems put in front of them to avoid the shutdown is basically, Republicans, we want to help you with the 2026 midterms by not having you gut, you know, the subsidies for ACA and kicking a bunch of people off of Medicaid. We don't. We'd actually love it if you didn't have to wear this. Sorry, excuse me. The next election, and the Republicans, because they are so gung ho about this budget that they're stripping people of health care for so that they could shovel more of our tax money into the pockets of the very wealthiest people in the world, not just America,
Yeah.
in the world. It's kind of crazy. And I think the calculation, honestly, because during previous shutdowns, they always made provisions for military service members and others within the federal government. I think Mike Johnson's calculation this time is he thinks the Democrats are going to wear this shutdown as if the Republicans don't unilaterally own the government. You know,
Mhm.
like that's the calculation each side is making, that when people do start hurting, each side is thinking the other side is going to get blamed for that hurt. And it's a shame because, as that one lady said, these families are the ones caught, between the
Yeah.
crossfire of this war.
It's sick. By the way, I haven't heard bumping gums since my nanny used to say that all the time. You're right, though. And no wonder, even though the Republicans control both houses of Congress and they own the White House and the Supreme Court, no wonder Mike Johnson thinks that, nah, we'll just the Democrats they'll eat this because every other lie has worked. They're in power. Every other lie has worked. So why don't we just spin this and do this? And I'm torn. We need as many people activated as possible, right? And sometimes that means it's like when you're on a team, somebody cheated, somebody didn't, do the sprints or do the drill correctly. We all got to run. Now we all got to run. Now we're all in trouble. Oh, now there's going to be practice on Tuesday after all. Great. Thanks. It's like, I don't want to see that for military families, but I understand why there's certain leverage and bargaining chips. It's so sick to discuss chips and people, right? These are everyday lives and families at stake. But I get why there can't be surrender. We can't like piecemeal this apart. Well, let's do this part. Let's do that part. Let's do this part. No, you're going to negotiate my whole contract, or I'll just sit at my desk. Contract ran out. Okay, no problem. I'll be at my desk. Okay, I'm fine. Got my nail file. I'll sit at my desk. Okay. We're talking about everyday lives. I'll give you the last word.
I've seen reports that a deal of some kind might be on the offing. We know Democrats don't have a lot of stomach for this kind of thing. So it might be coming to an end soon. But, the Chuck Schumer had to be dragged kicking and screaming to this position by the base. Like the idea that, like, no, dude, like Democratic voters are pissed and don't want to see you just go along to get along, which I think is a good sign. But we'll see, how long these guys can actually stomach a fight.
Yeah, I've been kind of looking around, CBS saying no resolution in sight. Last update just before we went on the air. We'll see. I know one thing. They should all be sleeping in their offices and forced to talk to one another like parents would do to a brother and sister who aren't getting along. You're going to work together here, and we'll be at the movies, but you two are going to work together. But hey, let the clown show continue. This is Indisputable. Sharon Reed, Wosny Lambrey's here. Tell folks real quick what you're up to before we go to break.
I'm going to be doing a new podcast called No Fouls Given, with Playmakers Network. I'm going to be co-hosting with both players, actually, are former NBA champions, Danny Green as well as Paul Pierce. And that'll be 3 days a week. And yeah, man, you guys should look forward to that. It's going to be lots of candor, no holds barred. We're going to have a great time.
You know why I giggled, don't you?
Yes, because Paul is a very hilarious person. Yes, he is so funny.
You make sure he knows it. I hope you have one of those big signs that says, on air, hot mic. And it may not matter. I'm just saying.
That's fair.
I look forward to that. This is Indisputable. Doc has the day off. Much more to come, including your comments.
Indisputable exclusive. Exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has the day off. I've eaten a Triscuit. And it's in the back of my throat, just in case something goes down. Don't eat a Triscuit with 20 seconds out. 30, 40. Yeah. All right, let's get to some of your comments, TYT members first. After Waz gave us such a lesson, really a clinic, as they called it, in this whole NBA gambling mafiosa, broke it all down for us. Here's what Disruptor Puss has to say. For what it's worth, my cats like to watch football, but more specifically, field goal kicks for some reason. I don't know that they're retaining everything, but they're getting something out of your lesson. Really, I'm going to try that with my daughter's cats. Cray cray souffle. Geez, this will make what Pete Rose did look like a jaywalking ticket. I don't know how you feel about that, Waz, because you're cautioning us. The devil's in the details here. Don't try to act like this is,
Yeah, I like I said, I would just like to see the FBI present more evidence that this was some massive, widespread, player involved situation and not just Jonte Porter and Terry Rozier with their boys. Two pretty marginal NBA players, although Terry Rozier way less so marginal. His last deal was for like $60 million or something like that. Like this guy's made real money in the NBA. And that's why it's kind of surprising that he would even be involved in this. Like he's had to have made at this point close to 100 million in earnings before. So
But
that's
isn't it all
definitely
relative? Like think like what were we saying before? It's all relative. If you hang out with everybody who's making 100,000 is good living. Now you're hanging out with guys at 40, 60, 80, 250 million. Yeah, it's just you can always have more.
Yeah, you can always have more. It's just in terms of gambling through the sports books, you can't. Like the
You
second
had one job.
the second they realize that something is amiss with the betting action on any of these plays, they're going to have you investigated. Period.
Mhm.
So if any NBA players happen to be TYT fans and you're watching, don't do it. You're going to get caught. There's no way to make money off of this.
And this network, we don't like for people to be incarcerated and stuff. So
Yeah,
it's a
don't go to
good
prison,
warning.
guys.
No. We're going to get to more comments, but I do want to one more because I know you'll weigh in on this. This betting scandal may cost Adam Silver his job. RJL Network says quickly was, I don't know. It could be true. That's really the whole job of an NBA commissioner is to keep the league, flowing and energized and expanding, good standing.
It's tough because I think Adam Silver has presided over some of the dumbest basketball related decisions in terms of the sort of feel and the culture, the essence of the game. I think he's presided some of the dumbest stuff that we've ever seen. On the other side, though, he just negotiated record-breaking TV deals for the owners. The Lakers just sold for $10 billion. The Celtics sold for 6.5 billion or something insane like that. I say all that to say he has enriched his employers beyond anything that they could have expected reasonably since he's taken over the job. So while he's done a crap job in terms of league perception and culture and the sort of finer details, the stuff that the owners view him as being his number one job, which is to make them their pockets fatter and richer, you can't argue with what he's done.
Yeah. It's true. I was thinking about the Gilbert Arenas, Javaris Crittenden, right? He brought the
Yes.
guns in the locker room. I don't know if that was Adam Silver.
I think
or David
Stern was still the
Yeah.
commissioner. He came
That's how
down
dumb
hard
is
on
that?
those guys.
I mean, come on. You're bringing guns in the locker room? Please. Okay, let's move on to this one. Because there's outrage. This is where we are, okay? Outrage over the White House's $300 million ballroom. And don't forget about the donors. Photos of the demolished East Wing of the White House have circulated this week during a time of a non functioning government. I already told you about military families standing in food lines. Americans are becoming more and more frustrated now. Watch this.
You can't afford a 600 square foot, one bedroom apartment in New York, but it's okay because the president who was supposed to fix that for you is currently building a 90,000 square foot, $250 million ballroom for him and his millionaire friends. And poor people can't have healthcare anymore, but you shouldn't blame the $250 million ballroom that he's building. You should totally blame the immigrants who are working their asses off for $8 an hour. And you can't afford groceries, and you can't afford rent, and you can't afford to buy a new car.
Did y'all know that while American citizens are on day 21 of not having a functioning federal government, you understand, federal employees have already been laid off. People have not gotten paid this entire month. Some federal employees are missing upwards to 40% of their check. You understand? People are trying to figure out what they're going to do for the holidays. You have people literally having conversations about, you know what? Let's just all collectively decide that the holidays are not a thing.
Google, Lockheed Martin, Microsoft, Palantir, and many, many more. It also includes Ripple, T-Mobile, and other companies. Now we're getting onto the list of certain individuals. You have all these different names, including the Lutnick family. Remember, Howard Lutnick is currently serving as Donald Trump's commerce secretary. They also happen to live on the same block as Epstein in New York City.
He said the ballroom wouldn't even touch the White House. No, but all the presidents have done it. Like Obama built a basketball court. Obama recycled an existing tennis court. He painted some lines and added a hoop, and this still was like national freak out.
Y'all leave Obama out of this, okay? He's got nothing to do with this monstrosity that Donald Trump is involved in. We will tell you the White House has now released a donor list. Here's what we know about the donors funding the White House ballroom. President Donald Trump again reiterated in the Oval Office on Wednesday afternoon the ballroom is being paid 100% by me, meaning he's not paid one dime. He's not going to even give cost of a stick of bubble gum. It's not happening. By me and some friends of mine, referencing donors. Government is paying absolutely nothing. Oh, we're paying a price, all right. Trump also appeared to increase the cost estimate by 50 to 100 million, telling reporters during his remarks on Wednesday the price tag for the new venue was about 300 million, more than the 2 to 250 million estimates previously given. Apple, Amazon, Lockheed Martin, Microsoft, Google, Coinbase, Comcast, Meta, just some of the major companies who have made donations to build President Donald Trump's proposed 90,000 square foot ballroom, according to the White House. His ballroom, his dream. Do you know why you need a 90,000 square foot ballroom? It is necessary. It's absolutely necessary to have it in the White House when the White House and access are for sale. I mean, you could say it's always been for sale, donors, inaugurations, whatever. But the only thing holding the money back is we get to have more space. Let them come. We'll sell out a huge stadium that happens to be in the people's house. Additional donors include co-founders of cryptocurrency exchange, Gemini, Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss. Those twins get on my nerves every time they're in the news. They're twins, right? The ones that went to Harvard. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and his family. The Edelson family. Trump awarded Miriam Edelson, a Republican mega donor, Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2018. Wasn't he just shouting her out when he was over visiting with Netanyahu in wake of this incredible peace deal that was immediately breached? I guess it's still ongoing. Demolition marked a reversal of Trump's earlier promise in July that none of the White House's existing infrastructure would be torn down during construction of the ballroom. Trump went ahead, despite not first sending plans to the National Capital Planning Commission, federal agency that oversees construction and renovations to government buildings across the region. On Thursday, a White House official told Reuters that construction plans will be soon submitted. After you took a wrecking ball, you already started tearing it down. Usually the way it works is you put in your papers, and there's a bureaucracy and delay, and then you have to change things and go back and forth, back and forth. You just gonna go ahead and tear it down first. White House, which was built from 1792 to 1800 by slaves, or the blacks, as Trump likes to say, is owned by the American people, overseen by the National Park Service. The East Wing, originally known as the East Terrace, was built in 1902 and significantly expanded in 1942. It's a disgrace. I almost am tired, though, Waz, of talking about this bull in this guy who brings chaos, destruction, theft, metaphorically speaking. Don't sue me. It's just all Congress has to do is act. Even the American people are teeing it up. 7 million people at the Snow Kings rally saying, you're not about to do this to us. But here we are. I heard what was a Dippy report? I won't call the person who delivered it Dippy, but the tease went something like this. When we come back, is the White House for sale? And I screamed at the television. Okay. And I like her too. She Helms, she didn't write it, I'm sure, but she still said it. What are you talking about? Of course it is. You want to argue about how much? Okay. Weigh in here because Donald Trump is going to Trump, okay, all day, every day, and ain't nobody going to check him.
I mean, you said many of the points that I would echo. The White House doesn't belong to Donald Trump. I think this is just him. One, I think it will have a functional purpose of housing, dignitaries and foreign leaders and foreign business people or American business people who want to come and offer bribes for favors from the American government. Like, it definitely serves that purpose, but I think, he definitely wants to leave a lasting imprint at the White House. So for generations, people be like, oh, this is the thing that Donald Trump made while he was president. But mainly, I just want to address the notion that this didn't cost the American taxpayer anything. Is just patently ridiculous. When he's over in Israel touting his peace deal, and he's like, Shelley Adelson and his wife, Miriam Adelson, gave me a lot of money.
Yep.
That's why I've taken the posture that I have with Israel. And what does that mean for the American taxpayer? Think about how much money we spent in quote unquote military aid in order to buy them weapons from the likes of Lockheed Martin and the rest of the military industrial complex, right? Like, that costs tens of billions of dollars for Israel to prosecute their genocide. Like, that costs the American taxpayer, okay? Like, this idea that we're not going to make decisions in terms of funding stuff and different initiatives that we might take that will benefit the people on that donor list is just crazy. Like, you just don't know how these people operate. It's obvious. Like, he's just telling you, like, Miriam Adelson gave me a lot of money. That's why I've taken this type of posture with Israel. I've been the best Israel president ever. Miriam Adelson gave me a lot of money. Like, he's saying it in the same sentence.
Hey, look, this is quite childlike. It may be our only saving grace that he does say, he shouts the quiet part out loud. Because he's like a toddler who wants to graduate from training pants, okay? Who screams out every time, look, mommy, I pee-pee in the potty. I pee-pee in the potty. He has to announce it, stating the obvious. We saw you. We'll give you a snack, a treat, something sweet for your trouble. This is what's going on. And it's up to us whether we want to allow it or not. And I would say that it's time, easier said than done as I pontificate from my home studio. It's just time for us to turn our attention and punish anyone and everyone who will not stand up to this bully. If you're in Congress and you are not standing up, then you get your chance, right? When are the midterms? It's time to just take over, okay, to get rid of this dictator who's taken over and costing us, you're right, day by day. You're mad about a Ronald Reagan voice. They didn't alter the voice. They didn't alter what he said about tariffs. And now you're not speaking in Canada. You don't think that hurts us? You're not speaking to Canada. You suspended all talks over tariffs because in an old Ronald Reagan speech, some Canadian province used it to talk about how tariffs harm. Boy, you thin skin. That's what happens when you've been raised with privilege and never been checked your entire life. I don't want to hear about military school. Well, so what his dad or mom, somebody's dad in a military school. You never been checked. There were the bone spurs that got you out of that thing. Okay. You've never been checked, never said sorry to the Central Park Five. None of it. Never been checked or brought to bear for the things that you've done. And you, sir, are you really could be the figurehead of a group of people out there who strongly believe they are beyond reproach. They do not ever have to answer for their conduct, but they're going to check you all day about yours. All day. What they say is the truth. Again, they self-deputize. Where are your papers? Are you selling lemonade without a permit? I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
No, he wasn't being attacked by a wasp. There's nothing that, sometimes I do that. And people think, well, there was a wasp, okay? I was trying to get stung. Nope. This milk Karen delivery driver freaks out over a customer's pride flag. It's just, you fool. You so dumb. Come on. Milk Karen delivery driver is freaking out after he accidentally touches it. The cooties. This reminded me of they send home the packet if you're a parent in the beginning of school and they say, don't pack peanuts because there might be someone in the room who could, die.
By the way,
potentially.
Sharon,
right.
Did anybody die from peanuts when you were a kid? Because it didn't happen when I was
LA. Nope. And when my nanny would pack the lunches, she would still do peanut butter. We'd say, Nanny, we're not, they said don't bring peanut butter, someone could die. Oh, girl, hush. Okay. So it's like that. People who have to carry around EpiPens, right? If they're stung or something, okay, they could die. This dang fool, what are you doing? Because of the beautiful flag and all these brilliant colors. It touched you? It's just blowing in the wind. What say you about this absolute clown who should live in infamy on the internet? I sometimes think people deserve to, let's retire that. But look at this idiot.
If you think that a gay pride flag touching your shirt will somehow compel you to want to perform cunnilingus on other men, God. I have news for you, bro. You're gay.
Oh my.
You're in the closet, sir. If you really think that this flag being next to you or touching you is making you gay, you're already gay, bro. You like dudes. Get over it. It's completely fine. We love you anyway. Stop it. You're just gay, bro. That's it. And it's okay. But just be real with yourself and stop hating yourself and stop hating gay people and stop doing this crazy performance. Like, if you really think this, you gotta look yourself in the mirror and be like, yo, I like dudes.
Wait. Don't do the split screen. Take me right off of there.
And
we end the segment with him.
And okay. Live your truth, brother. That's what we want for you, man. We want you to live your truth.
This is indisputable. Don't put me on there with this. Brother, as he's ranting on. This is indisputable. Doc has a day off. I guess we'll be back with more. We'll see.
Indisputable exclusive, disputable exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
Welcome back to Indisputable on the TYT Network. Doc has the day off. Sharon Reed alongside Bosny Lambry. I would ask you to clarify, correct whatever you needed to from the past segment, but I don't know what.
Oh yes, I mentioned that the guy wanted to perform cunnilingus. I was, informed by our producers that that's oral performed by a man or a woman on a woman. What I meant to say is fillet. This guy wants to fillet other men quite clearly and has a problem with that. And he's working it out by being ridiculously homophobic, but he needs to step in the light of his truth and embrace his true self.
I asked for it. Thank you, Oz, for the clarification. Let's get to some of your comments now. Okay, RJL Network. Thank you for the shout out. You're welcome. Appreciate you. Ford Country says, what? He thought he would catch homosexuality from a flag? Pretty much. Yeah. Night Eater. At least he won't rip it down from not being able to touch it. LOL.
Well,
we're okay. I want to regroup. Okay. Let's move on to this next story for you folks. Okay. Because it's very serious. Another issue, you just being black. You just walk around being black. And all of a sudden, black student this time. Sworn by cops after AI mistook his chips for a gun. Is just eating salt and vinegar or something, chips. What do you like, barbecue? Here come the cops. Now they're policing that. Baltimore, Taki Allen, high school student sworn by armed police officers after an artificial intelligence security detector mistook his bag of chips for a gun. Monday, around 7 p.m. Allen says he was sitting outside of Kenwood High School in Baltimore County. He was waiting for his ride after football practice. While waiting with his friends, Allen says he ate a bag of Doritos, crumpled up the bag, and put it in his pocket. Already, I like him. He didn't litter. He ate. He's hungry at 7 o'clock. Allen told WBL News 20 minutes later, it was like 8 cop cars that came pulling up to us. Allen remembered. At first, I didn't know where they was going until they started walking towards me with guns, talking about, get on the ground. I was like, what? Made me get on my knees and then put my hands behind my back and cuff me. And then they searched me. They figured out I didn't have nothing. They went over there to where I was standing, found a bag of chips on the floor. And so he did litter. But that's not the point of the story. Allen asked why officers approached him. They said an AI detector or something detected that I had a gun. He showed me a picture. I was just holding Doritos bag like this, Allen described. It was 2 hands and one hand out, one finger out. They said it looked like a gun. It was a scary situation. It's nothing I've been through before, Taki Allen said. Last year, Baltimore County High School started using a gun detection system that uses artificial intelligence to help detect potential weapons by tapping into existing school cameras. System can identify a possible weapon and then send an alert to the school safety team and law enforcement. Get your money back, whoever sold you this program. It's not perfected yet, clearly. Baltimore County police officials provided a letter from the principal that was sent to parents. It says, in part, at approximately 7 p.m., school administration received an alert that an individual on school grounds may have been in possession of a weapon. Department of School Safety and Security quickly reviewed and canceled the initial alert after confirming there was no weapon. The company behind the AI gun detection technology is called OmniAlert. OmniAlert doesn't comment on internal school procedures. The school system says counseling is being offered to the students involved. So they put out this dumb note, the principal did, like, I just want to let you know, could have been a serious issue, but nothing to see here. Well, but you left out the part where they pointed guns drawn as they approached this young man who was just eating Doritos. I meant what I said, get your money back. There's such a push to use every aspect of technology that is advanced and advancing, but It's not quite there in all aspects. Hell, I get ticked at Siri and argue with her once a day. I
Yeah, and I
am
think that
someone who communicates for a living, and yet she can never understand what I say. And I find aspects of that and the training that went into Siri a bit racist. Okay. It's like when they first had a camera, the images were flat, it couldn't pick up every color, more nuanced. When I entered the industry, went into television, you had to make special provisions to light a Black woman, right? Because the camera can't recognize. Well, you built the camera. So it's all linked back to the same old thing here. But I really think that this is it's stupid to rely on this for everything. This young man, I don't think it's an overstep, and you correct me if you do. This young man could have been killed by this
oh
encounter
yeah.
with police over Doritos.
Yes. Yes. He could have died. That's 100% perfect characterization of what happened. And I think there's a lot of things happening to contribute to what you describe as an over reliance. And you're right, dead on about that. One, artificial intelligence is a misnomer. These things don't possess intelligence. They don't think on their own. They make some kind of guess based on a bunch of inputs. That's it. It's not smart. It's not thinking. They're not reasoning. The other thing is, I think agencies and companies, all they see are the masters of the universe, the leaders in what we call the tech industry here, evangelizing for these products. And like, yo, AI is the future and it's gonna do this. And oh, it's so much more capable than a human being and blah, 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 blah. And you say to yourself, like, these are the people that invented all of our most advanced technologies. They're telling us this is the future. Like, it's got to be true. And in media, we get no AI skepticism. We get some people that are like, oh, this stuff is going to be so advanced, it's going to mess up our lives. But nobody's ever just like, guys, this thing's probably just going to be good at selling us commercials. And that'll be the advancement. And it's not going to really change fundamentally how we live our lives all that much. We don't get any of that. And what I want people to know, not just people that are in charge of freaking police departments, God help us, but anybody to know that whenever you see somebody on TV or in a media outlet bigging up the capabilities of AI, know that their stock price and valuation on Wall Street, therefore their bottom line is completely dependent on a perception that AI is going to be king. Always remember that. Sam Altman, all of these people, whenever they're evangelizing about the all-knowing and all-powerfulness of AI, know that they're like all of this crazy investment that people are doing in the AI, that investment is dependent upon them selling AI as this thing that's going to be incredible. I'm not saying AI won't be. I'm saying it's probably less than a 50-50 chance that it will. But you would never think that based on how AI is covered out in the media and out in the world.
I think you're absolutely right. It wasn't really designed necessarily to make your life easier. It may be doing that in some cases, but it's designed to make life cheaper for a lot of people, a lot of corporations, a lot of things. And whether they get it precisely right or not, they don't really care. Okay? They don't really care. Let's just go ahead and launch it. It's almost that time. I don't know if you're among those who puts on a costume and goes out and bring. Can I say this? I think Halloween, and I'm not trying to ruin anyone's fun, is one of the dumbest aspects of it, traditions ever. We spend our whole lives telling kids don't talk to strangers, don't take candy from strangers, da, 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 right? And yet, on this one night, we send them out in the dark, usually with a pillowcase, you know, they're just like have it over their shoulders. And they trick or treat. They take candy from strangers and they dump it all out and they trade and say, "Here, I want this or that." What are you doing here? Your choice. And yes, my daughter's going to be trick or treating. I can't take it away from her, but I think it's stupid. And I often say, "Let me just buy you some candy." Wait, I don't want to take this candy from strangers. Anyway, there's a lot of safer things you can pass out. Toys. Okay. I don't know that you should be passing out these flyers though. On the flyers. Well, a women's KKK group is passing out flyers at a Halloween parade. Just carrying out the mission. All these decades later. Be strong. Cumberland County, Pennsylvania now. While digging through their 5-year-old's Halloween candy collected during a local parade, a child's parents say, well, they found this. It's an ad for the women of the Ku Klux Klan. That was in the bucket. The Mechanicsburg Chamber of Commerce hosted its annual Halloween parade on West Keller and West Simpson Street. This was last Tuesday, bringing out families to enjoy all those seasonal festivities. Many people ended up spooked, though. Outraged, too, after hearing about the possibility of a KKK member in the crowd's recruiting. Local residents nearby, they were furious. Couldn't believe what they were hearing when word got out about one child finding the recruitment card for the women of the KKK. Come drop it on my doorstep. Meet me in person and see what happens, said a Mechanicsburg resident. Who, why? Are you kidding me? Don't ever come around here. Your kind ain't welcome. You're not welcome on my street. Please do not show your face here, said a neighbor. Well, a lot of times they're covered. I can assure the neighbor a lot of times they're covered. So that's neither here nor there, but that's the point. Residents call the neighborhood where the parade traveled through an inclusive community surrounding Broad Street Elementary School. So the women of the KKK, just reference how the KKK likes to cover their faces and it's cowardly and whatever. Do you know these idiots actually provided a statement? You're going to get our side of the story, okay? They gave a statement. The women of the KKK and the news, they get both sides. They told CBS 21 this. Some ladies have reached out and said they saw your local news story about a WKKK card that was supposedly put into a child's candy container. So you're going to get our story right. Doing the local news, I get complaints all the time. You guys said this is not true. Take it back. The women of the KKK said, you're not going to co-opt our story. We're going to get the truth out here. We assure you that wasn't the case at all. It's not who we are. Children are precious, not to be used as pawns. Not saying cards weren't passed out in the local area, but not in that way. It is not illegal to belong to the women of the KKK. Our mission is to help support our family, our community, and our beloved country. This is like a hybrid. Karen, it should be WKKKK. Add Karen on the end of that because your privileges for it. You're going to make sure the news tells your story. Thank you for reaching out. God bless the wonderful state of Pennsylvania. According to Harrisburg Historical, an online research article with Messiah University says the Klan was very prevalent in central Pennsylvania and held parades featuring more than 5,000 men and women in the 1920s, marched up and down familiar places like Front and Hamilton streets. As sociologist Kathleen Blee notes, women and mothers have played significant roles in almost every race hate movement of the modern era. And with mothers come children who are easy targets for groups founded on hate, bias, and belief that they can mold the world into one defined by white supremacy. In the 1920s, membership in the KKK reached several million people. In 1926, the KKK, so popular, they had a massive parade in Washington, D.C. Something tells me it's going to make a comeback. I can't exist. But in these times, come on. Somebody going to give you a run for your money in the record books. The Klan was so mainstream in some parts of the country that local KKK groups sponsored in public baseball teams, father-son outings, beautiful baby contests, weddings, baby christenings, junior leagues, road rallies, festivals, says the sociologist Kathleen Blake. Women played an important role in the KKK, which formed around a mission of protecting white women from sexual relationships and contact with Black men, Catholics, and Jews. Elizabeth Tyler and Edward Young Clark, PR professionals who took over the day to day operations of the KKK in the early 1920s, saw the potential of Klansmen's wives. The pair soon realized that women who could newly vote not only yielded political power, but could give much needed cash to the organization, notes historian Michael Newton. Women's groups soon sprang up all over the country. In 1923, the Women of the KKK was created as an umbrella group, gaining 250,000 members within months. Girls had their own opportunity to participate in the Klan. Members of the Tri-K Club. Club modeled itself on the women's organization, and members learned a pledge song whose first verse included the words, "Beneath this flag that waves above, this cross that lights our way, you'll always find a sister's love in the heart of each Tri-K." Members learned about motherhood, traditional gender roles, assisted their mothers in promoting and catering to the main organization, and appeared in parades, sometimes as Miss 100% American. Now, don't that sound ignorant? You know daggone well, and this story was messed up too, but you broke bread with people who were here first, and then you slaughtered them. But what do you mean 100% American? Reference to the KKK's goal of keeping the white race 100% pure. Okay, so Waz, this is a noble cause, okay? they, these women, it's historic what they did. They wanted to protect the white woman from these attacks, sexualized attacks by Black men. Keep them apart. What the hell would they do in Calabasas, where that famous family lives, who loves to, I don't know, diverse partners, we'll say. Can you imagine? The WKKK they'd have a fit out there in Calabasas.
Yeah,
they all have
tough.
This famous family. They all have a Black man. Okay, except for the one sister. One sister doesn't. Maybe two. All right, go ahead, because what am I supposed to do with this? The news team did get both sides of the story. Okay.
I don't know why they would start at the Halloween parade. I know you might want to get them young, start them off young, but maybe the Halloween parade isn't where you want to start that recruitment. And I just think it's so quaint to be just handing out flyers, like most of this work of domestic terrorist organizations get done online these days, in the West anyway. And so, they join groups like Groypers and stuff like that. Like this idea that somebody's gonna take your flyer at a nice little parade and then join the revolution to keep America 100% pure. Yeah, I don't know how that goes in a country of 340 million people, 60% of which is white. That's like 150 million people you got to kick out. How could you go about doing that, guys? Like, I think your mission is cooked.
I just love that they could have. Do we give them credit? I don't want to, but they could have just not responded. You know how many times on the news you have to say, we reached out, no response. By press time, no one got back to us. In this case, the WKKK, they have somebody who did respond. Do they get credit for that, Waz?
Sure. they're doing their due diligence.
She going right back talking about some We were there, but we didn't put it in the little girl's basket. Okay. I'll remind people of this great podcast that I can't wait to watch, that you're part of, listen to.
Yeah, we're launching on October 29th. It's called No Fouls Given. It's co-hosted by myself, NBA champion, former Los Angeles Laker, Toronto Raptors, San Antonio Spur, Danny Green, Long Island's own, and Inglewood's finest, Paul Pierce, NBA champion with the Boston Celtics, will also be co-hosting with me 3 days a week, man. So yeah, go follow us on YouTube, and yeah, we look forward to it.
All right. Well, I don't know what the podcasting rules are. I think you say whatever you want. So maybe this would be good. I mean,
It'll be
you're a
fun.
great host.
Nice, clean family fun, Sharon.
Go back and review some of today's clips if you're so inclined, and we'll see about that. I want to thank Doc, in case it's the last time Waz and I are together. And thank you, the TYT family, for keeping it real and just being the best. We hope you'll join us again.